Sucking on my brain. You're the teacher, I'm the student. Turning things around. Your story's not congruent. Tabloid decoys, pitiful excuses. Turning things around. You're turning things around. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter, the worst nightmare of all of these progressive local governments that are turning things around on you, raising your taxes, raising your city debt. We're here. Hey, we're in season 4.
We are. Oh, that's right.
We're in episode 2 of season 4.
Fourth year. We went to arbitration, and they picked up our options. So we're still looking. Still looking for that long-term extension before free agency hits. We don't have enough service time yet.
That's true. They're not sending us up to AAA yet. We're not old and decrepit enough. So
send us up to AAA?
Yeah.
Where the heck do you think we are? Advanced?
AA? No.
Oh, geez. We're still riding the bus. That's what we're doing. Okay, well, all right. I know I'm at 10.5, right? Or 11.5. I don't have any idea who that is.
That is a band called Eve 6, and that's a song called Leech.
Leech.
Yes.
Well, I didn't hear a leech in it, though.
Well, sucking on my brain. You're the teacher. I'm the student. I guess a leech sucks. Okay. And, yeah.
I don't get those metaphors or whatever. So
yeah.
Jay, I just want to say something really quick, totally non-political.
Have at it. It's our platform. We can do as we wish.
Yeah, I am become a big YouTube watcher.
Yes.
So you can just watch anything on YouTube,
right.
Practically.
Pretty much.
And I got nostalgic to watch some old wrestling the other day. You know
yes.
that it has been 36 years, almost to the day, not quite, since the Iron Sheik lost to Hulk Hogan in Madison Square Garden, which launched the WWF, into the stratosphere, or helped do it before WrestleMania 1 and all that. I actually watched it.
Yes.
Okay, on YouTube. It's about maybe a 15, 16. The match is only about 7 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
But I got to tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
One, I don't think you'll ever see a crowd so into a match. I mean, I forget how much the Iron Sheik was hated.
Oh, they hated him.
And of course Hulk was just coming off of Rocky 3 and his blow up with Vern Gagne, and he was just kind of left like a thief in the night to go back to. He had been in New York in the territorial days and worked for Vince McMahon Sr.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon Jr., the one we know, had just taken over the company and had that idea to go global or go national.
Yes.
And I got to say, I just have to say this because I so miss the old wrestling promos. I don't know why I'm even talking about it, just because we can.
Yeah, right.
Because I've always, when you think of the great promos, I mean, I think Hulk Hogan set the standard, but you think of Flair and Randy Savage and The Rock and Steve Austin in the later era.
Right.
And Roddy Piper I always thought was great, although you could never say what he said today. Because there's the famous coconut one with Jimmy Snuka, and Roddy goes, you used to go, you went around and you jumped from tree to tree with the coconuts like a little monkey and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, oh my goodness. But I don't understand it. The WWF has their own network. I don't know why they can't just do what they want.
Right.
But anyway, the most underrated promo, though, has got to go to the Iron Sheik. Because he would come up and he'd come up in his Iranian garb, I mean, you got to remember, what was the world was like then. I know Iran's not exactly a friend these days either, he would call Mean Gene Mean.
Yes.
Gene
Mean.
Gene Mean. Iron Sheik is best in sharp situations. I show the Iranis that we's are better than the Americans. And Mr. Volkov, he was partners with Nikolai Volkov. Mr. Volkov show the world. In one interview, he called Mean Gene a Jew businessman.
My word.
Just hilarious stuff. But you got to go watch that. Yeah. Just watch the crowd reaction, when Hulk wins, and watch, the song from Rocky III was still his theme music, so that was really new. And you just got to go, if you're a wrestling nostalgia person, you got to go watch. We're coming up 36 years since that match, though.
Yeah, and that did kind of change everything. I mean, before that, it was pretty much, we didn't even, in this area, really know about the WWF in those days.
No, you couldn't get it. It was all...
Right. It was all AWA. You had Abdullah the Butcher, you had...
Mad Dog Vachon, the Crusher.
Right.
You had the old AWA lineup and all the great Minnesota talent that kind of pipelined.
Larry Zbyszko.
Kurt Hennig and Jim
Nick
Brunzell, Rick Rude, all the guys that went on later. But and eventually you got down to two companies, and then you pretty much got down. I mean, WCW was the old Crockett promotion. It was the old, that Ted Turner bought a bankrupt company. I mean, his money turned it around for a while, but wrestling was totally terrible. Cable television is really what changed it. Turner owned his own network. Vince got on the pay-per-view, Saturday night's main event, all that kind of stuff. But just the old Gorilla Monsoon on commentary. I mean, you just have to go, just Google it sometime and watch it if you're a wrestling enthusiast. It's just one of those things you have to see once.
Absolutely.
But anyhow, back to business, Jay.
Yes.
We go from the Iron Sheik's interviews to politics.
Yes.
Pretty similar. Okay, pretty similar. We talked in a very recent show about refugees and local governments getting the kind of making the call, not states saying, we're just going to force this on a community.
Yeah.
And Beltrami County, which is Bemidji, is that their big city there?
Yeah, I think so.
Voted 3-2. This is the first week of January here. I don't have a date on it. To not accept any refugees in their county. Well,
and that doesn't mean refugees can't move there. It means that they're not going to have the state mandated.
It's not going to be forced on them.
Right.
Somebody wants to come to the United States and eventually they buy a house in Beltrami County. I'm sure they're welcome to do that.
More than welcome.
Boy, did that light up. So, I got to say something, too.
Yes.
You politicians who, the first thing you do is run to Twitter or Facebook, you really need a lesson in thinking twice.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's not the smartest thing to do to run to social media.
No, I mean, they sit and criticize the president for doing that, but then they do the same thing. And they think that their ideas are so much better that they're above reproach on this. But it's really not ever the smart thing to do.
No, and somebody set off a fury, somebody from this area.
Oh, yes.
Arthur Fonzarelli Winkler III Jr.
You may know him as Ryan Winkler.
Yeah,
but
you might know him
as the Fonz.
That's right. There's not a strand of hair out of place.
That's
right. Here's what he tweeted about the refugee thing. This is from January 7th. I made a nice comment, too. I shared it, by the way. I'm surprised Mr. Winkler hasn't blocked me yet. Minnesota counties that want state aid funded in part by taxes paid by immigrants and refugees should reconsider votes like these. I believe it should be like this. Beltrami County received a state bailout in 2019. They did? But 3 commissioners vote like they're on an island.
Huh.
He then was challenged by a few people. Something about whether this is in state statute. But here's how Winkler responded. But the state decides county's human services obligations and is free to add refugee provision at any time.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yes.
If the Beltrami, here's another one. He didn't stop, but this guy needs suntan lotion for his tongue. If the Beltrami County Board wants to withdraw from the state and not accept refugees, why should the rest of the state help them? It's my home county, and this vote does not represent me, blah, 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 blah. So there's a whole lot of tolerance here for somebody who disagrees with him. Basically, he is threatening, I mean, if I'm reading this right, that you're going to pull county-mandated funding. I mean, they mandate what to do, and then they're going to pull this from Beltrami County because they don't like what they do on this. So just as we predicted this.
We did.
And the Fonz did not disappoint. Arthur Fonzarelli Winkler III Jr. did not disappoint us. So what do you think? I mean, is this blustering? Is this bullying?
It's definitely bullying.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see all 86 other counties pass it tomorrow.
Well,
pass up. Okay, 83 of them then, because St. Louis, Hennepin, and Ramsey aren't. I'd like to see all of them pass this. Just stick it to the Fonz here, Mr. Stinkler. So I mean, again, I mean, don't give me this local control crap. If you're going to pull stuff like this, there is no local control.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's one thing for him to say it, and it's another thing for him to do it. And in one essence, it's a threat. In another essence, it is blowing hot air. I mean, you could probably swing the House to be able to not give funding, but you're never going to get the Senate on board. Well,
I don't know. If it gets stuck in an omnibus bill at the end,
there is that.
Nobody knows what's in it until 2028.
Right.
So I don't buy that they can't get this. I think they can.
Yeah, they may be able to.
They
could never overtly get it through. Let's put it that way.
No, because they won't do a single bill. They'll do some hodgepodge BS.
And that's it. It's funding, so it will end up in an ominous bill. Ominous bill. An omnibus bill. Ominous omnibus
whatever,
bill.
Something like that.
Say that 5 times fast. The ominous omnibus bill.
I can't say it one time fast.
That's what public schools will get you.
God, jeez. Okay, I went to Cooper.
That's all right. I went to Proctor.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I know other counties are considering this here, and I think they should go ahead and vote as they think they should, and don't let people be bloviators like this. I mean, look, here's the thing. What's happened is legal immigrants, the line continues to blur, Jay, between a legal immigrant, a refugee, an asylum seeker, a visa seeker. Some reason we put them all in one bucket now.
Right. You're not from here, you're welcome. Doesn't matter. You killed somebody.
Why do we have a country?
Come in.
Why do we have a country? Why do we even have a? Why don't we just? I mean, it's all part of the one world government. That's what we're headed toward.
Erasing borders, and I know there are a lot of libertarians that don't like the whole idea of borders, but along with that, they also take away all of the free things, and I have security concerns personally, even as someone who is definitely more on the libertarian end of things. I still think that we need borders because there are people out to hurt us. However, in a perfect world, people aren't out to hurt each other. Everybody's an angel. We could only make that work if we're willing to cut off all of the freebies.
Yeah, but I mean, we all know that's not going to happen.
Right.
I mean, come on here. Refugees, they get everything for free. So what are you going to do with that? I mean, look, here's the thing. Can we redefine what a refugee is, too?
Yeah.
I mean, are we going to take in anybody from a country that's in a civil war that we had nothing to do with? I mean, how do you define that? Where do you put a line on that? How can you take a city of a couple thousand people and drop a few hundred refugees there and think that that's not going to have a huge impact on that city?
Yeah.
And give the people there no say as to whether they want their city to change like that.
It has. Churches and other organizations are being overrun trying to provide for these refugees that are coming over the border.
True. I think churches have been part of the problem here, too, but that's just me.
I think they're just trying to, there are some definitely that are trying to help them get over the border. But in a general sense, the ones that are just helping the ones that come here generally aren't. But I think, though, Tom Petty is the one who said it best. You don't have to live like a refugee. You want to come?
He said that?
He did.
Oh, okay.
Go
in a song.
Yeah, in a song, yes. So.
I could name a Tom Petty song if I thought hard enough.
Yeah, I just gave you one.
Yeah, but I'm not counting now. I'll count that as a quarter of one.
No, that does not count. We already did that at the opening.
Well, I won't back down. Is that one?
That's
okay,
one.
there. I got one in a row. So we'll count that as the right answer.
Well, and the Tom Petty scorecard will mark that down.
Some other things to mention here. Just if do you have another thought on this? Okay,
not really.
Don't forget your caucus coming up on the 25th of February.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have a primary vote the next week. Look out for BPOU conventions if you're interested in being delegates to something in 2020. Whatever party that is, we just encourage participation here.
Right.
Even if you're crazy, we still want you to be part of things.
Yes.
Just, and the legislative session coming into fruition real soon. Unfortunately, for all of us here in Minnesota,
that large sucking sound you hear is coming from my wallet.
Yeah, yeah. I think everybody's going to make a few withdrawals. I think coming up here. I hate this legislature. I hate when they're in session. It's the greatest thing. You know what the greatest thing is I've said this before, but I go my yearly fishing trip.
Yes,
is right when the legislature ends. I think it's supposed to end May 22nd, or it's the later start this time. I think February 11th or 12th they get going. I wish it was never, but it is. And I'm always gone that week. I'm so tuned out of what's going on.
Yes,
it's so great. It's so wonderful to be gone and not seeing what's happening at the last minute or whatever they do. I don't like it. I've been following 2020 is my 18th year of being involved in politics.
Okay, and
I have never been happy ever at the end of a legislative session.
Well,
have you? You ever been happy?
No, I've never gotten what I've wanted.
Well, I've never gotten 1/10 of what I've wanted.
I don't know if I've gotten anything I've ever wanted.
I'd settle for a quarter. I'd settle for.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that I'm going to hate it again this year. I mean, the governor just proposed a $2 billion bonding bill.
Right.
$2 billion with a B.
Ridiculous.
I mean, there's just the floodgates are just wide open, and I'll tell you. Which brings me to kind of what we're going to talk about today, because it's advocating the legislature. And we've mentioned things like this, groups like this before, but I don't recall doing a show on them.
No, I don't think we've done a full show.
I don't think so. And schools have, for a long time, been setting up legislative platforms.
Yes. Or
under the guise that citizens are doing it.
Right, exactly.
Some districts are pretty open that they hired a consulting group or something to tell them what they want to hear. Because it's amazing. If these are citizen-driven, it's amazing how similar they all are.
Yes.
These legislative platforms. Now, of course, we have to start here in Robbinsdale, pick on them, because they're always one of the most egregious examples of something.
Now, hold on. Before we go there, let's just explain a little bit. So, a lot of school districts will have what's called a legislative action coalition, and it's supposedly, we really don't know who it's made up of, because nobody really is very open about it. It's supposed to be people from the community, people of all walks of life, people of all demographics, people of all skin colors and geographic parts of the district, and this and that, and whatever,
blah blah blah,
whatever. And then
that's their corporate. Right. That's their corporate press release.
Right. And so then what they do is they meet every so often, and they come up with a platform. But, they really aren't the ones that come up with it, and we'll talk about that. But then they go lobby the state capitol and try to get what they want passed.
Yeah, or they merge with the Minnesota School Boards Association or somebody like that, which I'm sure they're taking some direction from.
Yes.
The great thing here about Robbinsdale, though, is the great transparency that they have. You go to the Robbinsdale website.
Yes.
Was rdaleschools.org or something like that?
Something
Doesn't
like that.
matter. just Google Robbinsdale, just blah, blah, blah. You'll see a picture of a bunch of board members and legislators and so on and so forth.
rdale.org.
rdale.org.
Yeah.
And they have their platform, their 2020 platform.
Yes.
That the board is super enthusiastic about.
Oh, are they ever?
I mean, they're all smiles when they see this.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you read it. Well, first off, I don't know who's on this board. I have no idea. They don't show.
Right.
Okay.
Nothing like transparency in government.
They have meetings, but I can't find an agenda. They have a meeting in February, but...
That's the weird thing about this, Andrew. It's supposed to be this organic group that, is taking all the concerns of the community and turning this into legislative action. However, they're closely tied to the school district. They're closely tied to the school board.
The school board's creation.
Right. The school board creates it, and it's on the district's website that they list if they have one of these.
They may have their own, which we'll get into, without any.
Well, that's true too. Who needs the people? We'll just start our own.
Anyway, I'm going from the Sun Post here. Members from the Robbinsdale Legislative Action Coalition presented their platform to the district at a board meeting last December 16th. We've worked together to develop this platform. Then we'll bring this platform to our legislators to help support the work of the school district, said Aviva Hillenbrand, Program Director for Enrichment and Engagement. Wonder what her salary is. Now you listen. First off, I want you to think about what you do to change education. Jay, there's a lot I do.
Me too.
There's so much I don't know that we have enough time in 2020 for me to explain it all.
Well,
it's a lot that I would change. One thing you will notice in the Robbinsdale platform, there is absolutely nothing to do with student achievement, teacher accountability, how your tax dollars are spent.
Right.
There's absolutely nothing in there whatsoever about that.
All the things parents really care about.
Yeah, they really care about the things that are coming here. The coalition will advocate for school boards to renew existing referendums without a vote, said Elizabeth Gores, co-chair of the whoever she is, co-chair of the coalition. This saves money by not giving you a vote, Jay.
Yes, that's it. That's what they seem to say now. That's their rallying cry. We're fiscal conservatives because we're going to save money on elections.
But let me tell you what the real goal is.
Right.
The real goal is to get rid of referendums. Period.
Right.
They don't want to have to do this.
Oh, why should they have to go to you to ask for your
And
money?
a renewal is a bait and switch anyway.
Right.
They pass a 10-year referendum. They should have to come at you with something new.
They should.
What they do is come at you with an extension of the... Well, you're already paying a ridiculous amount of money.
Right.
So it's no big deal if you just keep paying it. We don't have to tell you what we're going to do with it. It's just they sell it. That's how they've learned how to sell it.
For the kids, we got stuff in the classroom we want. It's going to be smaller class sizes.
Yeah, class size.
Class size.
What else gets the soccer moms all? Career Path.
Oh, Career Path.
Oh, my goodness. Career Path,
It's going to help us come into alignment with our unified district vision.
They get they need, the soccer moms need like sweat towels and they need eyeliner to be redone because they just go so crazy over Career Path. And what's the other one? College Readiness. That's the other
readiness.
one. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
If you want to pick up a soccer mom in a bar, just mention College Readiness. Not that I do this. I'm a married man. But if you're I'm going to give you single guys some advice. You see a mom with like and you know she's got like an 8 or 9 or 10-year-old. You just go there and talk about college readiness and career path.
My
I'm telling you,
word.
you got a foot in the door, man. That's all you got to do. So anyhow, so that's
Goodness.
but this is steps being taken, and some people think I'm bloviating on this, but you know that school districts do not want to have to go to the taxpayers for a thing.
No.
They want that gravy train to be 110% downhill at like a 89-degree angle. Okay,
Right.
so they don't want ever to have to justify what they're doing. So the first step to getting rid of referendums is getting rid of a renewal. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do that. Now, okay. Well, then, if we don't have to do that, let's save the taxpayers some more money somehow by being able to increase it without having to make the case of why you need something, what are the consequences if you don't get something, so on and so forth. So that is as deceptive and as manipulative.
Right.
That's worse than picking up a soccer mom in a bar. That's way worse than that.
Well, I mean, this whole saving money argument, I mean, you're going to save the school district money because they're going to save on printing materials for all of the flyers that they put out for the referendums. You're going to save on whatever extra they're paying people to stand out there and hand these things out during football games and concerts and stuff like that.
Oh, that's right.
You know, it's a big racket, I'll tell you. But either way you go, I mean, it always just results in the same thing. They get the money anyways because people don't do their research. And so that's something
Well, it's for the children, though.
It's for the children.
You're racist if you don't do it, remember.
I'm a racist because I don't like children.
No, it's because you don't like minority children. That's the thing.
Okay.
You don't care for them.
Children are their own race now.
Yeah, I
well,
guess so.
that sounds like something that would come out of
School
that.
lunch pro. You school lunch cuts. We're back to that. Now,
I was educated in public education, and I says you racist because you don't like the children.
who's that supposed to be?
I don't know.
That sounded like Larry the Cable Guy.
Well,
All right. Anyhow.
yes.
This is another one that this is going to drive me so insane.
Okay.
More insaner than I already am.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
That's definitely the insaniest. Enhance educator workforce. Now, Jay, what does that mean to you? Now pretend
workforce.
Pretend this is not the school district.
Right.
How would you enhance the educator workforce? Then I'm going to tell you how they think they're going to do it.
How would I do it? I would bring in experts who would teach subject matter not based on their own feelings about the subject matter, but I would have them actually teach things like we'll get into civics later. I think we're going to touch on that a little bit. But
okay, so far you're very wrong.
Yeah, I know.
The coalition will advocate for policies. Mm-hmm. I don't know what policies those are. They don't say. That support increasing diversity in educators.
Right.
So who cares who's a good teacher or not? That doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. We discussed policies supporting increasing the diversity of the educator workforce so it better represents and matches our diverse student population, Goherd said. Now, let me ask you a question.
Ploy to get more Sri Lankan teachers in this.
No, that right there is a 110% racist statement.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you saying? Are you saying white people can't teach minorities? Is that what you're saying? What if I flip that around?
Yeah.
Hey, there's an increasing white population in the school district now, so let's get some more honkies in here and we don't need these minority teachers now because it doesn't match the demographics. Now, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
You need a teaching degree, don't you? I mean, hey, maybe that's something that needs to be looked at. Homeschoolers somehow are educated by people who don't have a teaching degree. How does that happen? How's that happen? How's it happen at a church?
Yeah.
Tell me how. So I don't know that. I mean, what policies are you going to? Is this where minorities get to go to school for free?
Well,
What are those policies going to be? You got to want to be a teacher. You got to go out and get your degree. You got to certainly graduate from high school. You probably have to do rounds as a student teacher.
Yeah,
you don't just
do.
We don't just go out and fill out an application.
No, you got to have the training for teaching. I mean, unless they're planning on waiving things, but I don't foresee that. I mean, the state needs their money. The state's not going to go for that because they need the money from teacher licensures.
Yeah, but listen to this. What is the tiered licensing system? What is that?
The tiered licensing system. Is that where people cry? Because I don't know. I haven't heard of that.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Well, it matters.
Well, it matters, but I mean, so what is there? One tier for? Does that mean a master's degree or a college degree or a doctorate or a?
But yeah, that's not really a tiered licensing system. I mean, your degree is separate from your license.
Yeah.
You go get a degree, and then you have to get licensed by the state in order to teach. And so the state licenses you. You have to fill out an application, and you have to get so much continuing education every so often to keep that degree, or not the degree, to keep that
My wife's
license.
a nurse. She has to do that too.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just another way for the state to make money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, here's something, too. Institute taxpayer equity. There's that word again. Mm-hmm. The coalition will focus on making funding for districts more equitable as it pertains to operating referendums and debt service. Well, here's an idea. Don't go into debt. Oh, wow.
It's a novel concept.
Depending on the property tax wealth in a school district, taxpayers may pay more to raise the same amount of referendum and debt service levies. For example, homeowners in Robbinsdale on a $225,000 home pay twice as much as people in Hopkins, coalition member Carol Enough said. No, Enzenough.
Oh, I wonder if
Enznoff.
I wonder if she's related to Chip Zanoff, the guy from Enough Zanoff back in the 80s.
ESNOUGH. I thought it was enough, but it's Enzanoff.
Okay.
This is mainly due to corporate type of what in the heck?
Yes.
They want to take the burden of passing referendums off of homeowners. Well,
right.
How the hell do you what?
Because they're not going to have referendums. That's why. They take the burden of the referendums off, and they'll put the burden of direct tax right on you.
Well, so I mean, but it has to be paid by somebody. So,
right,
who's it going to be paid by?
Well,
you know
this is
why?
Public school. You're thinking.
You know why?
Yeah.
I bet they want to dump it on businesses and stuff because if they take it off the homeowners, then a referendum won't have the impact that it does.
Right. Well,
you know,
that might be an option.
They can dump. Of course, you raise taxes on the business owner. What happens to that? The cost gets passed off on the rest of
consumer.
us. So it's not really much of a. So far, this is 3 of the 4 things that they're advocating. And of course, I see this one every single time.
Yes.
Stabilize education funding. No, it doesn't mean hold it steady.
Right.
It means let it increase at a greater amount. A portion of the group's presentation centered on addressing the gaps in education funding and inflation. Well, I could show you a bigger one in inflation and wages.
Yes.
School districts are having to close funding gaps through passing referendums, but even that isn't enough. Oh, of course it's not enough.
No, it's never enough.
Formulas have not kept up with the rate of inflation, said Hildebrand, which would give us over $7,000 per pupil, $7,000 per kid, just from the state of Minnesota. So that is their other thing that they're not getting all the increases they want.
Right.
They're getting increases, but it's not enough increases.
Yeah.
So, out of all that, Jay, you tell me, where do you see anything about student achievement, about teacher accountability, about any accountability? What's increased test scores, increased graduation rates? You tell me anything in there that is what to do anything with academic achievement.
Well, increased flexibility for school districts. That has to do with gym class.
Oh,
right?
the Twister, naked Twister in the hallway.
I don't know anything about that.
I don't either. I just saw it on a movie once.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
So aren't you happy now? Remember,
it's
they're advocating in your name, Jay.
Right.
This is what you want, the community.
Absolutely. If I was to make something up, I mean, and I was part of a Washington, D.C. think tank, this is what I'd come up with, too.
Well, but I mean, okay,
Yes.
why don't we forget that we're living in Never Never Land here?
Yeah.
We know that citizens did not come up with that list of stuff.
No. I mean, what citizen is going to come up with established governmental parity? Parity, not parody.
Yeah, I was about to say parody. We're going to make fun of the government. We're going to get together and make fun of them.
I already do that.
It's all education speak.
Yes, it is. And there's a reason for that, because the parents aren't coming up with this.
I want to know why I can't see the agendas. These things should be taped.
Yes.
If this is going to be said in my name, I ought to be able to see this.
Yeah.
You can't find an agenda. You can't find members. You can't find past meetings. There's nothing on there.
They're appointed. I would assume the school board appoints these people.
That's fine.
And why
That's
is it
okay.
not listed out? I mean, why is there, there are on some of these pages, invitations to come be a part of it, but how do you how many people are allowed to be involved? What's the process?
I want to know, too, if there's staff members, board members on this, because that tells me that they're being, led by the nose like cities are with staff. Yeah, and having these professionals.
You know it. Yeah, we don't even have to conjecture about that.
So,
and that's why you get speak like this. Taxpayer equity. Enhance educator workforce. I mean, this is all written by some lackey for the National Education Association.
They probably took this off the. I bet if I looked at and I'm not gonna because I just don't care what's on it.
Yeah.
If I looked up the School Boards Association or something, what do you want to bet? They plucked it right off of page 192.
It's the NEA or it's AFT or it's
some other alphabet soup.
Pick one.
And it's amazing. You know what's amazing, Jay? You'd think every district would be a little different.
Yeah.
You just think that.
Well, I mean, that's one of the other things that a lot of these, obviously Robbinsdale doesn't care one bit about it because it's not listed, but some of the other ones do list this out, that local control is important to them. They want increased local control.
Right. They sure do.
Yes. As we'll find out. Let's take a look at another one, as long as you bring that up. What do you want to look at, Hopkins, or you want to look at another one first?
Yeah, I lost my place on here. Let's look at Hopkins. What the heck?
Yeah.
Just an inspiring document, Jay.
Fantastic.
Colorful, and everything else here. Our education priorities. Stabilize education funding.
Oh,
where have we heard that before?
It's stabilize. This is like when sometimes when you watch like Tucker Carlson and he'll play like 3 to 5 minutes worth of segments from all these newscasters, and they're using the same words over and over.
It's incredible.
The exact same words. It's the same thing here.
Yeah. Support strategies to promote equity and access.
So again, we're with equity.
But access to what? What is this? What is this people don't have access to?
Good education.
Okay, well, whose fault is that? It ain't mine.
No.
I'm paying my taxes, so if they don't have if they're going to school and don't have access.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean? They don't have any books? They don't have any pencils? They're blind? I don't know what is this access stuff.
Yeah. Well, what they're saying is we can no longer settle for putting students in categories that compete with one another.
Are you kidding? That's all schools do.
I know that's all they do, but that's what they're saying. I don't buy any of this. We got to stop putting them in categories to compete with one another for state and federal funding. Doesn't have anything to do with their future. It has to do with competing for funding.
What do you mean competing for funding?
Well,
I mean, are Robbinsdale and Hopkins arm wrestling over who gets more money from the state?
well, they must be.
I don't know who'd win that, to be honest.
Yeah. It's not even, again, it's not about scores. It's not about achievement. It's not about even college readiness. It's about funding. It's all about funding. We need more money. We need more money. Hey, we need more money. By the way, we need more money.
More money. All right, let's keep reading this inspiring document.
Yes.
Build positive and restorative school cultures.
This is where they want to find alternatives to suspension and expulsion.
Oh, I see. So restorative school cultures.
Yes. Equitable, respectful, and positive school community is necessary for all students to feel safe, connected, and confident.
Oh, boy. I can't even respond to that. It's just so disgusting. And here we got to love it. Enhanced local control.
Oh.
That's as funny as they don't want local control.
No.
They want the state to blame for. We all know that.
Yeah.
Enhanced local control, my butt.
But what do they want local control for? To allow locally elected school boards to adopt the school calendar that best meets their needs of the students in the community. So if they want to get rid of Christmas break and Easter break, they can get rid of that and put in Ramadan break or winter break or solstice celebration or whatever they want to do. Retain the ability of school boards to schedule capital referendum elections on a date that meets local construction timelines and allows school districts to take advantage of lower interest rates and more favorable bidding climates that can save taxpayer dollars. So it's not about not going into debt. It's about let's schedule this at a time that's better for a taxpayer.
Yeah, well,
because we're really thinking about them when we borrow that $10 million.
What's a good time for the taxpayers?
Yeah.
Are they more generous at a different
When
time of the year?
we borrow that $10,000 over the next 20 years, we want to make sure that we're not raking them over the coals as bad as we could. Grant school boards the same authority as every other Minnesota taxing government body to renew an existing operating levy.
There you go
So again, it's get rid of the levy.
Well, how is it possible? How is it possible that they all have the same thing here? I mean, we're almost
right
reading it identical.
Yes. Where did they get it all from?
I don't know. It's just incredible. I mean,
yes.
What are the odds that they could just get all of... They're all thinking the same thing. How do they do it? They're such great independent thinkers.
It's a miracle.
It's beyond a miracle.
Yes.
By the way, the Grand Rapids thing I sent to you?
Yeah.
That was Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, yeah. Well, it probably says the same thing as the Minnesota ones. Granted, they may have some different rules at the state level, but generally speaking, yes.
Yes, and so Hopkins, Robbinsdale can't really tell the difference.
Right.
Can we just say that we just can't tell the difference there? And speaking of that, we got Osseo too.
Oh, why not? It's the triumvirate. Yes.
Osseo, again, this is from the Sun Post, January 8th, 2020. In an end-of-the-year work session, the Osseo School Board discussed legislative priorities for 2020. Here's who did it. Ewald Consulting.
I've heard of them.
Ewald is a former state rep, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, that could be.
I don't know if he or she is still around, but doesn't matter. They, along with the staff, put it together.
Yeah.
So once again, it was basically the school board putting together the school board's agenda. First issue, a formula funding increase, which of course, because of course there's gaps, right?
Yes.
And we have Valerie Dosland from Ewald Consulting claiming that school safety and mental health are the reasons for the increase. Mental health. So we gotta drug everybody. School districts received $30 billion in aid, but of course that's not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough, not enough, not enough.
It never is.
Well, I mean, so I could go on and on and on about the basic formula. Here's their second priority. Second priority is increasing funding to better meet the needs of English learners, the student group with the largest achievement gap in the Osseo School District. Unfortunately, funding for English learners didn't make it into the final bill, so this continues to be our platform. Hopefully we can gain some traction. So I'd like to know, it's funny, you think if they didn't know English very well, you'd spend less on them.
Right.
They're not in all the other subjects, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, would you spend less on the English learners?
Yeah.
Not more? I mean, they're just learning what everybody else learns in kindergarten.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, really.
why does that take so much more money? Is it more one-on-one staff time?
I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose it is. You know, you probably have to, you have to have added curriculum, and that kind of stuff. And they have, I think, ESL curriculum that gets people up to speed faster with the English language because you're teaching more complex concepts. I mean, you take somebody from Mexico that comes in at 8th grade. I mean, they're going to have a better understanding theoretically of math and things like that, just in their native language.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know in Robbinsdale it's 3 programs.
Yeah.
There's English language learners, there's English as a second language, and there's something else. It's ELL, EEL, and
ESL.
LEP, Limited English Proficiency or something.
Okay.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
Again, everything's all about academic achievement so far, right?
Yes.
The third priority is a 2-part dedication to school safety, which encompasses physical safety and mental health. According to the platform proposal, this includes making mental health priority a safety through the permanent increase of safe schools revenue and expanding the use of long-term facilities maintenance funding to include modification of buildings to enhance physical safety and security. Okay. First off, that can't. They're a gun-free zone.
Yeah.
So their choices have already been taken away. And I am sick and tired of hearing about mental health. Let me tell you something. How do you take an elementary school kid and diagnose them with, quote, mental health issues? Remember, adults have a choice. Kids don't. Okay? So adults can get on this goopy medication and be told they have PSD from getting hit on by the mailman or something or whatever.
Right.
And they have a choice. Kids don't. And the idea that you're going to put kids in a group, label them, this kid's ADD, this kid's bipolar, this kid's, which there's no diagnosis for, there's no accepted. Listen to a psychiatrist. They can't tell you what they look for.
No.
It's all about getting a kid to sit down and shut up.
That really is it. Stop acting out, and they don't look at, well, maybe the kid's bored, maybe the kid's not being able to learn in the style that, best suits them.
Well, that's funny. I thought they had individualized focus, though.
Well,
Is that what these schools brag about? Individual focus?
Not really.
If there was Ritalin around in the 1980s, I've said this before, I'd have been hooked up to an IV.
Oh, they had it in the 80s.
Well, Nobody I knew had it. I mean, there was ADD. I mean, I was a kid. I wanted to go outside, play baseball and wrestling and sitting still in a classroom. That was heck. But nobody thought anything. My parents didn't think anything of it. Well, he's a hyper kid. He'll crash later. I mean, that was... I had to go on bike rides because I mean, nobody thought anything was wrong with me. So why now I'd be drugged?
Yeah.
Now I'd be doped up, sitting there looking like the guy from Green Mile. That's what I'd be looking like. Okay.
My word.
Whatever. Whichever one had the bees in his mouth, and that's what I'd be like.
Oh, good.
So I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do to enhance physical safety? What are you going to do? Hire a bunch of RoboCops? Who, of course, they have no weapon because it's a gun-free zone.
Right.
So they're just standing there.
Yeah.
You're going to hire a bunch of wannabe cops?
I don't know what I don't think I don't know what they would do.
Metal detectors? Right? Are we going to wand what is that?
A lot of these schools already don't give you access to the building till you check into the office. I mean, you got to buzz in, you got to provide an ID. They already have.
Oh, that's racist. So what if you don't have? What if you can't afford an ID?
Exactly. They didn't think of that, did they?
Boy, you know what? I'll tell you what. It's funny. 30 years ago, you could walk in and out of school and nobody thought anything of it.
I know.
I used to pick up my sister from Cooper sometimes. We just walk right in. And that was in the 90s. That wasn't that long ago.
Right.
I want to say she graduated in 98 or 99 after me. But, all right, listen. Fourth and final proposed priority is to reform special education. And, of course, what do they want? More money.
Of course.
So once again, we've got, and of course we've got the board just going crazy over this. In fact, it was not enough. Board member Jackie Mosquito Jones says, and what I can't read that name, Mosqueda, Mosqueda, with the hyphen Jones. And Superintendent Corey McIntyre said they'd like to see another bullet point under the learning and opportunity gap to create incentives and alternatives to attract, develop, and retain teachers of color. Where have we heard that? Robbinsdale and Hopkins.
Yeah.
Another board member, Heather Douglas, with 2 S's, expressed that the mental health of students should be a top priority. Board member Kelsey Dawson-Walton, that's 2 TV shows there, right. Dawson's Creek and the Waltons, suggested moving mental health resources into a priority of its own. Keeping it under a school safety umbrella. Mental health, quote, should be a top priority. We can't close the achievement gap without drugging kids. without them feeling comfortable and safe where they are.
Comfortably numb, just like Pink Floyd.
Yeah. So they're gonna make some adjustments.
Drug them up and let them sit.
Yeah, they're gonna make adjustments.
Yeah,
and bring it back on January 28th.
You got a lot to look forward there. That's wow. You know, it's funny. Let me read these off and let's see. I've got some points from a different school district here.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's just see. The state is falling far short on funding our public schools. Resources for at-risk and ELL students are even more inadequate, falling below the recommendations.
Recommendations?
Yeah.
What, their own recommendations?
Yeah. The current system of funding the schools has been getting less equitable over the years. Too much variation in per pupil revenues and expenditures across the districts. They need to be stabilized.
Pupil. That's the only time you hear pupil.
Yeah.
Do it for the pupils.
All right.
It won't become dilated if you get more money.
Yeah, that's true. They need ensure schools are funded based on the true cost of meeting academic needs, federal state mandated services for poor students, special education, which we just talked about, English language learners, ensure greater equity and fairness. It's the same stuff over and over and over.
What is this
again.
from, North Korea?
No, this is Grand Rapids, Michigan that you told me to pass over.
Oh, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Same things. Same thing.
The Michigan legislature. What's going on over there in Lansing?
Yeah, you've been getting together with the Minnesota or what?
I guess so. They've all discovered Windows 95. They're all talking.
It's the same thing.
No wonder I thought it was Grand Rapids, Minnesota. I'm like, God, everything's just the same. It's got to be the same. I bet if I pulled it's Itasca School District.
Yeah,
that's who that is.
I
bet if I pulled that up, I'd see the same damn thing.
Probably.
It'd be the same thing. Not enough. Not enough. Not enough. Not enough. Not enough. And again, nothing about student achievement.
Yeah.
Graduation, test scores.
Right.
Teacher accountability, school board accountability, anything like that. No, it's blank check after blank check after blank check. It's not enough. 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 It's not enough.
But and let me say this, and I'm gonna make some people upset probably. And
Good, better you than me for once.
We do have good teachers. We do have good teachers. We have bad teachers and we have good teachers. It's not the teachers as much as it is the educrats that rule and reign over our school districts and the state. And
but
stuff.
I will say, teachers have a role to play in that.
They do.
They're representing them, whether those teachers are for it or against it.
Yeah,
I know they're intimidated. I'm sure they are, but to not speak out. But
and there's
wouldn't
a
stop
whole
me.
bunch more that don't care or agree, with what they're doing because they
just want their paycheck.
They don't know how to solve the problem, and so they think more money is the answer or whatever. And they're taught by their colleges, this is we need more equity, we need more of this, we need more of that. For all of the problems that we have had and all the money that we have thrown and all the money that we're continuing to advocate that we need to throw at this problem of our kids are undereducated, our kids don't have enough money, our kids aren't college ready, our kids aren't passing the test. You guys are the worst problem solvers I think that I have ever seen. I'm supposed to send my kid to you to learn how to get educated and learn how to make it through life, and you can't solve a problem. How are they supposed to ever be able to solve a problem? Why am I sending my kids to learn from people who don't know how to problem solve?
Why are you, by the way?
Well, I got to work for
You're
a living.
the parent, not me. Yeah. So why are you?
I got to work for a living.
Oh, okay.
There's
always that always gets in the way.
Yeah.
You should have had an original homestead or something. You could all be out in the cornfields.
It's set up one of those township school district things.
But is your bigger point? Is the schools continue to take on more than they really were intended to? They're not intended to be a place to solve mental health problems.
No.
They're not supposed to be providing food. That's not, again, that is not the role of a school.
If my kid leaves and doesn't understand about the basic separation of powers and the three-legged stool of government, there's a problem.
Well, there's also a problem in how it's taught.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a problem
progressive
too.
bent all of it.
So do you want your kid to learn from them, or
right?
Well, and
that's the thing. I mean, what was it you were showing me beforehand? And they wanted to increase teaching they want to start teaching again in civics and financial responsibility or financial independence.
Yeah, I can't remember where that came from, but
anyways,
sounds great.
That is not the first time I've heard civics come up, and it was, I wish I could remember where it came up. But we need to watch this stuff because when it goes away, it's usually because it doesn't fit the narrative that these progressives want to teach in. And when it comes back, it's usually because they've been able to rearrange it in a way that is going to teach progressively what they want you to know.
Well, and the misunderstanding of so many things, and why we have an electoral college, is one that really concerns me, that I fear is going to go away at some time. Why we have checks and balances on our, not just our federal government, but all governments are supposed to have that. And of course, you and I talk a lot about how the local governments don't.
They do not. Unless you're Renee Bowman, we're a check on ourselves.
Yeah, they check on they balance themselves. Financial literacy. I have my opinions on what that is. To me, financial literacy is how a loan works, how a bond works, how your 401k works, how if you
how to get out of debt,
right? I mean,
how to build wealth,
how to do a monthly budget, and
how do cryptocurrencies work,
and how about
gold?
Buying a home you can afford rather than one that you can be approved for,
right?
But how many people sign away $200,000 and have no idea?
Yeah,
what
how
they're
does
doing?
compound interest work?
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough to scare people to not get.
You couldn't find a high school graduate who could explain it to you.
No.
But my fear, and you and I talked off the air about this, and I'm kind of coming around to your opinion a little more.
Well, of course you are.
Is that the schools want to use that to teach socialism?
Yes.
Economic justice, social justice, wealth gaps.
Yes.
That's what they mean by financial, or bringing co-ops and things like that, getting rid of corporations, robber barons and all that kind of stuff. It's funny, I look back on high school and college, and I can see now times when I was taught at a slant, and not you'd have to be pretty astute to see it.
Right.
I think now it's very open, but I think then it really wasn't. And and how some of that did influence me for a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's teaching of history is so. I would love to go on graduation day and give a little Civil War, Revolutionary War quiz to these graduates and see if anybody could pass. And I mean, I'm going to bet half the staff couldn't pass. So, I mean, when you talk about literacy, I mean, what do you spend 13 years in school doing? If you can't balance a checkbook and you have a high school diploma, okay, I guess we don't use checkbooks really.
Not
Maybe just
much.
me and my wife, but I mean, if you can't do that, okay, what did you do for the 13 years you were in school? You can't write in cursive anymore.
Nope.
I mean, there's so many things they can't do.
Well, I mean, at least they know all about
the 26 genders.
The 26 genders and, equity, racial disparity. They don't know about,
do they know about that, though?
Huck Finn, but...
Yeah. Or Laura Ingalls or anything like that. You can't read anymore. So.
Right.
Anyhow,
but
like I've said, this subject is hopeless. I mean, at some point, these schools are going to collapse under their own weight. I just hope I live to see it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, like so many other things with local government, it's all about a huge paradigm shift where people aren't aware there's a problem, and they need to be made aware that there is a problem. That the schools don't have any answer on how to fix this stuff, and their only answer is to throw more money at it. But it's not working. They don't have the slightest clue what to do. They don't know how to solve the problem, and they're throwing money so it makes it look like they're doing something. That's it, and so what are you guys going to do about it? I mean, I know it's hard, to get involved at the school level.
We got to make our own legislative platform and submit that for school board approval. You people give it to me. I'll write it up to Robbinsdale and send it to them.
Yeah, I'm sure that.
Here's the real agenda.
That'll make it through.
Oh, absolutely, unanimous vote.
Right. Oh, boy.
I think that's a good idea. And heck with Ewald Consulting.
Right.
How about they hire Community Solutions to go do this?
Well,
we will make ourselves available to any school district that wants a real agenda.
There you go.
And we'll only charge you $56,000. No, I don't know what. Whatever Ewald Consulting is, we'll do it for $1 less. How does that sound? Saving the taxpayers money. Just think. Just wait a
like
minute.
with elections.
Just think.
Love
just
it.
think. For the Osseo School District, they had to hire somebody to tell them what they should advocate for.
Right.
So how about that for a use of your tax dollars? Now, we don't know what we should do. Let's hire somebody to tell us.
Yeah.
But really, we're telling them. The consulting group is there, again, probably just how to frame it. How do we sell it?
Right.
How do we make it sound, like we're not 100% plagiarizing this from somebody else here, which they're doing.
Right.
So, oh, God. Oh, barf.
That's enough to make your head spin.
I'm going to be dizzy for the next 2 weeks.
But yeah, so these groups, they're full of who knows who from who knows where, and they're pushing an agenda that was written who knows where by who knows who somewhere else away from here.
All I have to say is season 4 so far is not inspiring me any more than 1 through 3. Just so you know that.
We're off to a grand start, aren't we?
I'm no happier today.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that they're doing better than they used to do in government.
It's just getting worser.
Yes. So, but that's why we're here. Because we want to encourage you and inspire you to get involved.
Yeah, that's not inspiration enough, those words we just said.
Right.
It collapse under its own weight, but we're going to get you involved.
But that's it. I mean, we need disruptors who are thinking out of the box. People who think that they can do the school system completely differently.
That's right. People who can pass gas in church. That's who we need. We need rabble-rousers.
Well, yeah, that is what we need. We need people to be disruptive.
These things just come to me.
Yeah, I don't know how. So who's in? I mean, here we are, 2020. It's a big election year. We got the presidential election. It's important you vote in that, but I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do other than that. So what else are you going to do? Your country needs you. Your county needs you. Your state needs you. Your city needs you. Your school district needs you. What are you going to do to change the landscape?
Ask not what your city, county, and school board could do for you, but what you could do for them.
Yes, absolutely.
See, now that is less plagiarizing than the school action coalition platforms.
It's true.
If I came out and said that, everybody'd be like, "Okay, you're ripping off Kennedy," but I'm like, "No. I'm just if the legislative action coalitions could get away with this, I should be able to get away with it too."
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. I will give you credit for that one.
Ask not what your watershed could do for you, but what you could do for your watershed. This could be our new motto, Jay.
Yeah, there we go.
Right? Ask not what your soil and conservationists can do for you.
Oh, boy.
Okay, I'm liking season 4 a whole lot more right now.
Yeah, it's starting to turn
Ask
around
not
for you.
what your Three Rivers Park District can do for you, but what you could do for your park district.
Right.
Which is right out of statute. That's not too for it.
Oh, man. It's going to be a good year. I'm telling you right now, you have a lot to look forward to, at least if you're a listener of this podcast. Because whether things get better out there or not, we're going to be coming up with ideas left and right. We're going to be pushing you like we've never pushed you before. Because let me tell you, everybody's attention is on some race in Washington. And, I think that if you guys buckled down and you made things happen locally, you're going to see more change happen in your lives than by electing some guy to Washington. And now I'm going to vote for president. I'm not going to sit home. But here's the thing. I also know exactly who I'm voting for at the city level. I know exactly who I'm going to vote for, at the state level. I know exactly When those names come out, I can tell you who I'm not voting for at the county level. I can tell you who I'm not voting for at the school board level when those races start to come up and be populated with candidates. It is important that you jump in the game now. Get on an advisory commission and start recommending or not recommending things to these legislative bodies. And then maybe you'll get the itch and you'll want to run yourself. Because until we get 20,000 people across the state that are willing to sit and tell these staff members, no, I'm not putting your progressive policies in. No, I don't agree with this. No, I'm not going to look at your sales literature and push it. We are sunk. We are going to keep getting what we're getting and go further in debt and have stricter regulations. And you don't like it. You complain about it. I see you all sitting there and complaining on Facebook, complaining on Twitter. Stop complaining and just get in the game and do something. Join Team 20K. You can do it. Join in on our farm club, and we'll put you in a rookie league, and we'll get you up to the double A's in no time.
What did Apollo Creed say in Rocky? Be a thinker, not a stinker.
That's right. He did. Yeah. Yes, he did. All right, guys. Season 4 is now 2 episodes in. So we're picking up momentum. Now it's time for you to pick up momentum where you live. Get a hold of us at commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. That is commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. And let us know what's going on in your area or how we can help you, and we'll be more than happy to do it because we love you, Minnesota. Now it's your turn to get to work.
If I get too caught up